Yields back. Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witnesses, and I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Kiley, for that purpose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are fortunate to have with us today witnesses who know as well as anyone what has gone so wrong in my state, what has gone so wrong in the Golden State. They will share with us the titanic policy blunders and staggering failures of political leadership that have caused such harm to California and for which our citizens have paid such a high price. I believe that today's hearing can be a moment where we turn the tide and restore some sanity to California fire and water policy while issuing a warning to the rest of the country about the devastating consequences of these failed policies. As President Trump said, there can be no golden age without the Golden State. Our first witness is Steve Hilton. Now, most probably know Mr. Hilton as a British and American commentator for, among other outlets, Fox News. But he actually, back in 2010 to 2012, was the director of strategy for British Prime Minister David Cameron. And he has now brought his unique mix of brilliant strategy, passion, and a common sense approach to policy to found a nonprofit organization called Golden Together, which focuses on fixing the problems that are causing a mass exodus of people from the state of California. That mass exodus, by the way, is measurable. For 5 straight years, California has ranked #1 in the country in outbound U-Haul rentals. The greatest state in the country, most beautiful state in the country, has become the most popular state to leave. Mr. Hilton's testimony will cover the failures in leadership that have led to the lack of preparation for the fires in Los Angeles. Our second witness is someone who many of us in California know very well and whose insights we have been relying on for a long time. Mr. Stephen Greenhut is Resident Senior Fellow and Western Region Director for State Affairs at R Street Institute. He was a columnist for the San Diego Union Tribune who focused on California policy and state government. He authored the book, Winning the Water Wars: California Can Meet Its Water Needs by Promoting Abundance Rather Than Managing Scarcity. His testimony will identify many areas in which policy promises in California that were made with no follow-through from California leaders. As a California resident, he can speak to the personal impact many of these policy decisions have had on him and his family. And finally, Mr. Edward Ring, who is perhaps as knowledgeable about water and fire policy in California as just about anyone. Dr. Ring is the Director of Water and Energy Policy for the California Policy Center. He has a deep tactical knowledge of the poor decision-making of environmentalist California policymakers. He will speak directly to the prolonged environmental review process and the meddling of environmental groups that prevents proper fire mitigation and water management from happening in California. And lest anyone think that the purpose of this hearing is simply to identify problems rather than present solutions, I'd encourage you to check out Dr. Ring's written testimony in which he has literally dozens and dozens of concrete policy changes that California could make right now to improve the situation. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for convening this important hearing, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Nadler, to introduce the Democrat witness.